Welcome! In this video, I will be showing you how to add games to your Batocera machine in 3 different ways. First is via USB and the file system using a mouse and keyboard. Second is with USB and Kodi, which is already installed using a controller. And third is via LAN, which is basically just having another computer in your home. After each method, you'll need to update the list of games that are displayed for the changes to take effect visually. I will be showing this after I demonstrate the 3 ways to install games. As an aside, note that some controllers may come with not entirely accurate mappings for buttons to functions. I've included an image displaying what the default layout should be for some of the more popular options for controllers onto the systems I've handed out personally. Towards the end of the video, I will display the images as well as show where to locate them on your machine, assuming I've handed you one. Before we start diving into the file system, I will describe some terminology that will get used. My hope is that my explanations are as thorough, clear, and concise as possible for non-tech people. To begin, the first is path. Path refers to the file path towards whatever file or folder you're looking at. For example, if I have a photo of a meme, in order to describe where it is, I might use the path c/myusername/pictures/mymeme.png. The path is important to describe the exact steps taken to reach the file. It starts at the most general, which would be the entire drive, and incrementally gets smaller until it isolates the desired location, which would be some file or directory, in this case, the meme. Windows uses backslashes, while Unix systems use forward slashes. To me, this is really irrelevant, and so I'm just going to say slash. The second thing that I would like to explain is directory and folder. I will be using these interchangeably since they are basically the same thing. In reality, it's just a container that can store files and other directories or folders inside. As a real-world example, you might have a box that holds apples. By filling this box with apples, I can then place the apple-filled box into another box labeled fruit. I can also insert apples into the fruit box or the apples box. It is irrelevant where, but I get to choose where. Basically, digitally, it's the same thing. But what is different is that there are 2 special items that are inside every directory or every box. The first is a single period. This means that you are referring to this directory. If the current path is /userdata, then by selecting the period option, you will stay at /userdata. This may sound pointless, but it allows developers to interact with the directory via code in a concise manner. For our purposes, it's not really helpful. The more important one to know about is the double period. This option indicates the parent, or in many cases, the previous folder. As an example, suppose you're at the path userdata/roms/gb. By selecting the double period option, you'll be taken to userdata/roms. This allows for traversing your file system in a concise and straightforward manner. With all that technical jargon said, it's time to show you how to add games to your console. To start off method 1, with the machine already on, plug in the USB drive and then press the F1 key on your connected keyboard. This will open up the file system. At the top, there will be the path to the current directory that you're looking at. You will want to navigate to the Share tab, which is on the left-hand side of the file manager. This is akin to the user partition seen in other OSs like Windows or Mac OS. This is where your individual files are stored, like videos, photos, documents, etc. In the case of Batocera, there are predetermined folders for us, but the one of interest is ROMs. Opening this folder, we will see a lot of subfolders, each referencing a particular gaming system. I will be copying my files for Super Mario World 2 and Super Metroid for the SNES, so I will navigate to the SNES subfolder. Sometimes you will see demo files for pre-installed games, but there will always be an _info.txt file. Opening this file tells you important information like the allowed file extensions and more. I highly recommend reading its contents before transferring. With that setup done, you are now going to locate the inserted USB drive containing your games. In my case, it is called Ubuntu, since this was the live Ubuntu USB I talked about in the previous video. From there, locate your files, right-click, and copy them. Then re-navigate back to the system you want, where you want to place your games, and paste them. Once they finish copying, you're done. You can close the file system from the tab menu in the top left. Method 2 is fairly similar to Method 1, except you are using a controller to handle managing the file system. Additionally, you're using the Kodi Media Center in order to get this done with the controller. Later on in Method 2, you will be navigating the menus using the symbol-faced buttons. These symbols vary depending on what type of controller you have. A, B, X, Y for both Xbox and Nintendo controllers, while on PlayStation there is square, circle, triangle, and X. In order to have consistency, the Batocera docs use a nomenclature denoting a cardinal direction so that there is not any confusion. For example, to select things on a Batocera machine, you're going to be using the south button. On Xbox, this is your A button, on PlayStation, it's your X button, and so forth. If your controller is not properly mapped, I will go over how to remap it at the end of this video. Assuming your controller is properly mapped, I will continue with the guide. With the machine on, plug in the USB drive, then open the main menu. Navigate to the Kodi Media Center option and select it. The screen should go black briefly and then turn on, showing a new menu with the Kodi logo in the top left corner. From here, navigate to the gear symbol in the top row. Select it. Now navigate to the File Manager option. This will open a new menu where you have two vertical menus with a pair of arrows in between them. Each side represents a view into the file system. Think of it like having two windows of your file manager side by side. That's basically what this is. For consistency with Method 3, I will be keeping the left as source, which is where the files will already exist on the USB stick, and right as the destination, which is where I want to copy the files to. I will be indicating what files I want to move from left to right. On the left, select the location for your source. Once again, this will be on my USB stick labeled Ubuntu. You may notice that by default, there is no location for the Share folder on the list displayed. By scrolling until the Add Source option and then selecting it, you will be taken to a new menu. In this menu, you'll be looking for a particular path to add to the default list. From this menu, navigate to the Browse option and select it. This will now open the interface to look somewhat similar to Method 1's file system. I will select the shared directory. You can further choose to go to the ROM subdirectory if you like. I chose the share directory since this is the directory that contains other important subdirectories that may be of importance to you, like cheats and so forth. Once you have your desired directory path displayed on the bottom below the list, select OK. Double check that the path matches the desired path. Feel free to rename it to whatever you like for clarity. Once satisfied, select OK. Your newly defined path with associated name will be displayed on the right-hand side. On the right, select the location for the destination. In this example, I'm going to be copying my files for Pokemon Blue, Red, and Yellow for the Game Boy. Thus, I will navigate to /userdata/roms/gb. Once again, I highly recommend reviewing the contents of the _info.txt file to ensure that your games will be functional before transferring. It lists important information like valid file extensions and more. Assuming all is well, then you should have the source directory on the left and the destination directory on the right. Double check the file paths on the bottom of each menu. To transfer individually, you can select the file and then navigate the menu to copy it over by pressing the south button. Select the copy option and confirm it to copy it over. You can select multiple files to be copied at the same time. Select each file with the right bumper and it should become highlighted in yellow. To unselect a file, press the right bumper when the blue bar hovers the desired file. Then press the west button to bring up the menu and select the copy option to copy all the selected files over. If you have all your files in a single directory, you can actually copy all of them at the same time. You can select all the files by pressing the west button to bring up the menu. Then press select all. With all the files in the directory selected, they should be highlighted yellow to indicate that they're selected. Press west again, navigate to the copy option, and copy the files over. Confirm you want to copy the files, and voila, the copy should be displayed on the right-hand side. Method 3 allows for the transferal of data over LAN. This means so long as both the Batocera machine and your host machine containing the game data are connected to the same network, this can work. You'll end up having a similar dual file system view and transfer games that way as in method 2. In the upcoming example, I use a Windows 11 machine to transfer my game files. You can similarly use SSH or FSTP with macOS or Linux to achieve the same results. Windows is special and gets its own program because Windows
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
does not natively support this process very easily. You can use PuTTY or whatever other software you like, but I will be using the recommended WinSCP. To start method 3, let's set up your Batocera machine with internet connection. Assuming you have physical Ethernet connection or Wi-Fi antenna, you will want to start by opening the menu, navigating to the network settings option, and then selecting it. Make sure that Wi-Fi is enabled. You will then enter your Wi-Fi credentials. Look for your particular router name from the list and then enter the password. Once that's done, they should be displayed in the menu. Now navigate to the Show Network indicator and make sure it's on. With this enabled, it should show an icon in the top right of your screen when the device is connected to the internet. If not, try re-entering your Wi-Fi credentials, enabling or disabling the Wi-Fi to force a restart of the connection process. Once it is connected, the symbol should appear in the top right of your screen and your IP address should be displayed at the top of the menu. The internet status should also say connected. With the network connection done, it's time to hop onto your computer that should have the game files. This machine should also already be connected to the same network as the Batocera machine. First, you're going to download WinSCP. The link will be in the description below to download it. You might also want to follow the official guide on Batocera if my guide is unclear. This guide will also be linked in the description below. The big difference that I have with the Batocera guide is that I will be using the commander interface. This is so that we can follow the similar style seen in method 2, where we have the left-hand side as source and the right-hand side as the destination. If you do not like this, feel free to choose whatever option you like, as my guide is the commander interface and Batocera's guide is the explorer interface, which is more like method 1. Once you download the program, open it, and you should be prompted with a login screen. If you previously used PuTTY or another similar program, it may ask you if you want to import those credentials as well. Feel free to decide whatever you like. In any case, the credentials that you want to create are as follows: the file protocol, SFTP, the hostname, Batocera in all caps. That is BATOCERA. Your port number should be 22. The username should be root, all in lowercase, ROOT. Your password should be Linux, also in lowercase, Linux. Click Save and then log in. It should briefly look for the Batocera machine, authenticate, and then prompt you for the password. Once again, enter in the password Linux in all lowercase, that is Linux. The default window should now display two panels. I will designate the left for source and right for destination. In this example, I will be transferring a single N64 game, Banjo-Kazooie. On the left-hand side, navigate like before to the destination where your ROM is stored. On the right-hand side, go to the path indicated for the N64, which should be /userdata/roms/N64. I reiterate looking at _info.txt to ensure you have a workable file. Now select the files you want to transfer and click on the upload button. It will then prompt you to ensure you have the right path. You can choose to add it to a transfer queue or upload the selected files. I do each system separately and don't want to confuse myself, so I usually only work on a handful of games at a time. After clicking OK, the process will immediately begin to transfer the files. Note that you can actually rename the files since you're looking at the file system of the Batocera machine as well as the current machine should you want to. You should now have your games on the Batocera machine. But for some reason, they don't seem to show. This is an easy fix. On the Batocera machine, all you have to do is open the main menu, then select the game settings option. Now select the update game list option at the top and confirm on the new dialog that pops up. After some time, the games you transferred, regardless of method, should appear under their respective category. In this last section of the video, I will be talking about how to rebind your controller. When I plug in my Xbox controller, the binds are all over the place. I confirm with the share button and open the menu with the select button. To rebind it, navigate to the main menu, then select the controller and Bluetooth settings option. Select controller mapping and confirm OK on the new prompt. Now it should display a blank grayish window showing the gamepad if it's detected. Even though mine was wired, it wasn't displayed, but it worked regardless. Now press the confirm button to start configuring each button option. As stated in method 2, I talked about how the symbols are not universal for controllers, so Batocera uses the cardinal directions to describe the face buttons. The first option is south, which should be your confirm button. On the Xbox controller, this should be A. Pressing this button should update the value on the right-hand side of the screen. Repeat this process for all buttons. I ended with pressing the Xbox logo button as the hotkey for the final change. Do note that not all controllers will have mappings for every button. I am not sure how this will affect things like rapid fire or any other special functionality. Earlier, I talked about the images and the button mappings that should be default loaded for Batocera. The location for the images are seen in /userdata/cody/pictures if you are using a machine that I gave to you. You can navigate there with any method that you prefer. They are in this particular directory since you can access it in Kodi via the Pictures tab. Now I will briefly show each of them. In the next video, I will describe how to customize your machine with themes, retro achievements, and more.